What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at this 2023 Toyota Highlander. This is a very nice dark green paint job on it, which is pretty unique to see. It's a limited all-wheel drive. At the end of today's video we're going to unveil the MSRP and see if I think it is worth the price tag. Big shout out and thank you though to Flo Toyota of Statesville for providing this 2023 Highlander for today's video. Check out the link to their website, link down below. Underneath the hood of this 2023 Highlander, you're going to find the all-new 2.4 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It pumps out 265 horsepower with 310 pound-feet of torque. This one is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, sending the power to all four wheels through Toyota's all-wheel drive system. Curb weight is around 4,200 pounds, and it can even tow 5,000 pounds. Running on a 17.9 gallon fuel tank, you're looking at 21 miles per gallon in the city with 28 out on the highway. Overall length is 194.9 inches with wheelbase at 112.2. Height is 68.1 and width is 76 inches. The new Highlander even has some off-pavement capabilities like approach angle at 18.1 degrees, breakover angle at 16.7, ground clearance is 8 inches, and departure angle is 23 degrees. Moving on to the exterior styling with the 2023 Toyota Highlander, it is a really bold looking family SUV and this green color actually really pops. It looks super cool. We have a nice set of LED headlights that span all the way into the fender. They have a blacked out housing with some chrome trim and a nice daytime running light underneath that. You can see the upper portion of the bumper has a nice chrome trim piece with Toyota right in the center, and you get a nice gloss black design for all this mesh, really allowing a ton of cooling into the engine. You can also see some sharp contours on the farthest side of the bumper with an LED fog light and some plastic trim. Then the bumper protrudes outwards quite a bit to have a pretty bold design. We have all this plastic trim down below that with a massive area to allow more air to cool the engine and turbo. Parking sensors are in the front. The front end really does come together. It looks nice and muscular. We have some sharp lines all throughout the hood that fade their way towards the windshield, and I really think it adds to the aggressive design. Moving to the side profile now, we get a set of brushed aluminum wheels with a really nice split 5 spoke, and you can see that plastic trim going all the way around these wheel arches. We get some small mud flaps down below that and a sharp body contour in the lower portion of these doors. That sharp line cuts all the way through to the rear wheel and a sharp line through the side profile. We get body colored door handles and body colored mirror caps with an integrated turn signal as well as some plastic trim, and then you're going to see some of that polished trim in the lower portion of the windows. We have all black trim around the glass itself and then some polished roof rails along with a sunroof up on top. The side profile of the Highlander is pretty proportional looking. It looks as you would expect, really good size and shape overall. And as you make our way to the rear end, I like how all these sharp lines kind of cut their way towards these taillights, which are massive. Nice LED, they have a pretty cool design to them, and they kind of protrude outwards to give it a wider looking in back appearance. We have a massive rear spoiler all integrated into the roofline with a third brake light and the shark fin antenna. Then you can see down below that we have more contours within the bumper, some more of that plastic trim, as well as reflectors and parking sensors, a massive piece of gloss gray right in the center. You get all of your badges for limited all-wheel drive as well as Highlander, then Toyota logos in the center with your backup camera. I think the design in back really comes together nicely to match the overall design. So there's a good look at the exterior with the 2023 Toyota Highlander. I actually am starting to really like the green color. I think it looks pretty unique, and that turbo engine, that new engine, is going to be interesting to drive. With that said, we have Toyota's key fob. You get Toyota and Highlander on one side, lock and unlock, and then just the power liftgate button. With that said, you can keep the key fob in your pocket and just grab the door handle. It'll automatically unlock, and we can check out this interior. This particular spec gets a black leather interior, and you're going to see some of the polished aluminum as well as some wood grain trim all throughout it. We have a black door panel. You can see the leather along with some stitching on this armrest with some good padding. We have a nice grab handle, all of your window controls, lock and unlock and mirror controls. Then we get your release handle in that brushed color, memory seating, and then this nice shiny wood trim. We get some storage down below. Highlander is written out in an aluminum door sill. Then we have all your power controls on the left side of the seat. You can see the smooth black leather with perforated all throughout the center. Pretty nice design going up all the way through the backrest. Nice little stripe. Get some more stitching on the headrest. Then you get a black leather steering wheel with more of that silver trim and some black accents. And then now inside the Highlander, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. All the screens are going to come to life now. And we get a massive digital display right in the center. And you can control what you see using these control buttons on this left side. So if I scroll left and right, you can see a few more things that are going to come up, which is a nice way just to view everything within the car. If I hit OK into settings, you can scroll through this, see all sorts of different safety information, then I can easily back out of there. We do get drive modes. You can control that using this toggle right here. You can scroll this up and down to go into sport, eco, and normal. And it even gives you a pretty cool display up on top to kind of add to the aggression or to tone it down for the eco mode. So pretty nice the way everything is laid out. Along the steering wheel, you can see your Toyota badge. All the cruise control settings are on the far right side, and you get some Bluetooth and audio on the left. The right stalk gives you all of your windshield wiper controls, and then headlights are over on the left with your turn signal. To the left of the steering wheel now, we have your automatic high beams, heated steering wheel, start, stop, and power liftgate. Interior dimming light. Then you can see some nice black leather material all throughout the dashboard with stitching. Has a nice design the way everything is laid out, and you even get a really large amount of storage right on that far side. We have some cool material coming down. Wireless phone charging mat is underneath here. And then we get this huge screen for all of your infotainment. This one's not set up right now just yet, being brand new, but it is nice to see how everything is laid out. We'll get a full navigation screen and everything, of course, once it's set up. But huge screen, as you can tell, audio information, phone integration. You can even have different climate information coming up within the car, trip information, and I like how you can see all-wheel drive. So you can kind of monitor a lot of what's going on within your car. You have your settings icon as well, all sorts of different things that will come up. You have Wi-Fi. Of course, you're going to get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, things like that. Then if I go ahead and put the Highlander into reverse, we get a pretty good sized backup camera in the center. I wish it did utilize the entire screen. However, it's still a pretty decent size. Good guidelines as well and nice graphics. Then just putting us back into park. Underneath all that, we get climate controls. You can see your zone right in the center with this nice toggle switch, as well as fan speed right here. You can sync it. You have your rear as well. You have heated and ventilated seats, dual zone temperature control, just scrolling using these two dials. You have all the other controls as well, and then some piano black around the air vents. Moving our way down below, we get some USB ports, a 12 volt, and even more storage space, and then more of that gloss wood trim all throughout the center. We get two cup holders on the far right side, a downhill assist, snow mode, traction control, then your electronic parking brake and a brake hold. Then you can see different drive modes right here. You can toggle this and it'll come up and give you a really cool depiction. You can see the mud and sand, you can see the rock and dirt, which is really nice the way everything is laid out. Then I can just push it and go back into the normal mode. So it's nice to see different street modes as well as different off-road modes. And then in the center, we have more of this leather material for your armrest, and you can grab this and just slide the whole thing back, and we get extra storage under here. This piece is removable, and we have a pretty good sized bucket down below. And then on the far right side, we can open up the glove box. You have a pretty good amount of space, as you would expect. One last look at the 2023 Highlander. Very nice in here. I think it's nicely appointed, pretty comfortable, very easy to use, and you get quite a lot of technology. Up on top, we have a light gray headliner with your sunroof shade. Then all the different dome light controls and glass controls. You can get a sunglass holder, and then your mirror even has your garage door openers. And then moving into the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, the door panel is finished off just like we saw up front. And then we even get a set of manual sunshades. Great feature to see. This can seat 3 people in the second row. You can grab the center piece right now and get an armrest as well as 2 cup holders. Then in the center, we get your different climate control buttons as well as some plugs down below that. Then you have storage on the backs of these seats. Your air vents are going to be up in the ceiling along with your dome lights. Then you can even grab this rear lever, pull that, it'll kind of stop at a 45-degree angle. Then you can just push that out of the way and you can gain access into the third row. So then hopping into the second row of the Highlander, this is pretty roomy so far. I'm 5'11" with the normal seat, not reclined or anything. I have plenty of headroom, and with the driver's seat at my height, I got plenty of knee room as well as foot room. If I just grab one of the levers, this reclines quite a bit. And honestly, this would be a pretty good just family road trip car. I can definitely see why you'd want to buy one of these. But nice and comfortable back here for sure. And then hopping into the third row, this is where it gets a little compromising, especially for a full-grown adult like myself. We do have air vents up here, which is nice to see, as well as cup holders, but these are really, really cramped. As you can see, my knees are past the seat right in front of me. So I don't know, and I can't even maneuver my camera. I don't know how well I could actually sit back here. It's hard to actually hold a camera and be back here. But with this seat kind of up a couple inches, I mean, it's doable, but I am certainly cramped. As you can see, my legs are straight up in the air. So this is in a pinch if you need to put like 2 kids back here, maybe, who are really tiny. Certainly not the best place to be. And then you can recline the seats. And again, really, really tight back here. I can barely get to it. If I recline the seat now, it's definitely a lot better back here. So it couldn't be the worst thing. However, my head is pretty much touching the ceiling. So the third row in the Highlander, if you need it in a pinch, it's here. However, certainly don't plan on using it too much for anybody bigger than a tiny child. And then onto the cargo area, I can just tap the button on the key fob, automatically open up the power liftgate. With that opening in the third row up, you can see how much storage space you have. Not too bad, kind of what you would expect for a decent sized SUV with a third row, and you can see that recline angle difference. From here, you can grab these levers, it'll unlock the seat, push them forward, and then the headrest will even get out of the way if they're already up. But with this nicely folded down, you do get quite a lot of interior cargo space to make this pretty usable. And you can see we have a speaker on the far left side, and then a little bit of storage over on the right side. From there, we can just tap the button and automatically close the liftgate. All right, so we are setting off now in the new turbo Toyota Highlander. I'm just in eco mode, kind of normal, letting the car feel itself out. So some normal basic things. You have a really good view out. You can even see some contours in the hood, and the dashboard is actually really short. Most crossovers like this, you know, bigger SUVs, are gonna have a huge dashboard. So I kind of like how this dashboard seems a little bit shorter. You got a taller piece of glass for the windshield, so it's actually really easy to see out. Good visibility, decent visibility out the back. However, the second row headrests are kind of in the way of that window, but overall, you're not too bad for visibility. You are nice and high up, pretty good comfortable seating position and things like that. I do notice my arm keeps falling off the armrest. It kind of is right on the corner of it. So the armrest on the left isn't too comfortable. The right one's pretty good. So, you know, decent comfort, I would say. Of course, you can get the seat in all sorts of different positions. If we go into sport mode, we'll leave it in automatic mode. Kind of feel out this turbo engine and 8-speed, but giving it some gas. Honestly, nice and peppy. It really doesn't, you know, have any issues getting up to speed. Seems like a pretty good power plant. We can put it into manual mode. Let's see if you kind of get any true manual shifting as we get onto the main road. So it'll downshift all the way, and then getting up to speed. Not bad. Seems to actually let you shift, which is a pretty good touch. So yeah, not too bad. Nice and peppy. Does what it needs to do. Of course, you have cruise control, all that good stuff to kind of just relax driving in this Highlander. But it's pretty comfortable and quiet. We're going 40-something miles an hour. We really don't hear any wind noise or road noise or anything like that. So it certainly is a nice place to be. You know, this is a pretty normal car, a normal SUV for the family, and you can just drive at normal. Really no loose ends. It does feel like a pretty solid and well put together vehicle. You know, when you close the doors, when you touch things, it feels pretty solid, pretty easy to use everything in the interior, and it just seems like just a nice, comfortable SUV to pilot. Steering is nice and light as well, and the suspension really does a good job absorbing bumps. So I feel like it really is, like I said, well put together to where it just is a comfortable crossover for the family. Now, as we're in eco mode now, getting up to some speed, Yeah, that turbo, it packs a good punch, and that's not even really flooring it or anything like that. And I think the 8-speed really delivers power well to where you're not gonna have any drawbacks in power. As we go over some train tracks right now, the suspension, you know, really takes those bumps nicely, and definitely a smooth car to drive. So turning around to my perspective, honest thoughts behind the wheel of the new Highlander, it's impressive that the 4-cylinder engine really feels like this. It really just drives like a normal car, what you would expect it to do. Good comfort aspects and things like that. And I like all the amenities, you know, the heated steering wheel, heated seats. So I think it's pretty well appointed for being that it is a top tier trim level. Brakes do a good job. Seems just like a well-balanced SUV with kind of everything you're looking for. And then in normal mode, as we get back up to speed, really doesn't feel like a 4-cylinder. It's got a lot of torque, a lot of power. Yeah, really, I don't have complaints with a 4-cylinder. I'm not to say I'm the biggest fan of having a 4-cylinder in this, but I feel like it's really not, I would say, a negative aspect. I think when you're towing, that's when you might really notice it's just a 4-cylinder instead of a V6. However, you know, the average person, the normal person buying this, your normal drive, really not a bad place to be. Easy car to pilot, just comfortable. You really can't go wrong. I think the biggest downfalls so far are just the back seats seem like you got a lot of compromises. If the third row is comfortable, the second row is not going to be comfortable. The second row people are comfortable, the third row is not going to be comfortable. So I feel like for a third row SUV, that third row is really pushing it as far as the size of this vehicle. I think it could have been a little bit bigger to accommodate that third row a little bit better. I guess Toyota's making it to where if you want a true third row that's usable, get a Sequoia, don't buy the Highlander. So I think that's probably where they're doing it. However, it almost makes a third row in this next to useless just because it is so cramped back there. And, you know, like I said, if the second row has their seats anywhere other than up against the first row seats, you know, the third row just doesn't have any space. So I don't know, I think they could have done a little bit better job making it more roomy back there. However, for, you know, these two people, this is certainly a nice car to drive. It's solid, engine, power plant, all that's really nice. So not a bad vehicle overall. I just feel like the rear space could have been a little bit better. So with all of that said, this Toyota Highlander is $50,000. Now, is it worth $50,000? This is a pretty competitive market, and 50 grand still goes quite a long ways even in today's market. You could buy a Nissan Pathfinder Platinum, a Jeep Grand Cherokee L Limited, or maybe a nice trim level Ford Explorer. Personally, I think I would actually buy the Nissan Pathfinder just because the rear seat space is really good. You don't have to sacrifice. The second row can be nice and comfortable sitting there, and the third row passengers have plenty of space. This car just seems like the second and third row, you have to choose which ones you want to sit in. If you have 4 people in the back of this car, 2 people are going to be compromised. So I think the back seat space just could have been a little bit better. The Jeep also really roomy, same with the Explorer. So while the Highlander, it drives really good efficiency, all that good stuff, I just think there could be a little bit better space. Not to say it isn't a great driving vehicle. I think it's worth the price point. I just think that it could have a little bit better space in that second and third row to where you don't have to compromise to have this loaded up with the friends, family, and all the kids and stuff in the backseat. So that's my one complaint. 4-cylinder, I don't really have a complaint with. However, the V6 in the Pathfinder is pretty much just as efficient, and it's a V6, which I kind of would prefer. So that's my thoughts on it. I think just it's a little cramped for the back seat space for being a family third row. Anyways, that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed taking a look at the new Highlander. Big shout out and thank you once again to Flo Toyota of Statesville for providing this Highlander for today's video. Check out their link down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.